Welcome to the Blue Attack Path. We're going to be doing some HTTPS exfiltration of information from that Windows 10 box. To review from the previous technique, we placed C# code that was base64 encoded in the registry. We then created a scheduled task that executed PowerShell, which would read the registry key, compile the C# code in memory, and on a user login that has admin privileges, it would add the Spencer.d account. Then we simulated a login by Braille.ogden by connecting an SSH tunnel through for RDP access and logged in as Braille.ogden from our Kali machine. And we verified that the account Spencer.d was created from a scheduled task. So in this technique, we need to set up an Apache web server and PHP. The Apache web server that we're setting up is to simulate kind of two functions that you may need on the red team. The function that port 80 serves is where your tool set is located. Port 443 is where the information that you're exfiltrating is sent to. So we're actually simulating those two functions. And normally your tools you would not want to store on port 80, you'd want them encrypted and behind. So that is a poor example, but for this scenario, that's how we're going to build it. And we are going to use Kali to host these files and then create tunnels that will allow those connections from the Windows 10 box that we've compromised, going back to our jump box, through a tunnel, and back to our Kali. So first on Kali, we need to install an Apache web server, sudo apt update just to update the package repository, and then sudo apt install Apache 2, PHP, unzip is just a good application to have, and then OpenSSL. After installation of the web server, there's two commands you would want to run. Sudo systemctl enable Apache 2. This is like in Windows, enabling a service to start when the machine starts, or it just enables it. And then for you to manually start it, you can do sudo systemctl start Apache 2. If you have any issues with installing PHP and say you're missing a package, so you run sudo apt install php-gd, for example, you would need to go back and restart Apache 2 to reload the PHP libraries that were recently installed. So just another pointer there. After you set up the Apache 2 web server, it's running on port 80 by default. We want to configure it so it's also running on 443 with a self-signed certificate. And this website right here has a great instructions on how to set that up. So go ahead and go to this link, follow the instructions, and set up the self-signed cert and port 443 on Apache. After you get the web server set up, the web server is going to be located under var www html. Okay. By default, you're going to have an index.php file. I've removed the default file because I don't want it to show that it's an Apache server and all that information. And all I've done is created a blank file, or I've put the message hi at the top of my web server. Make sure you maintain your permissions and be careful with your permissions for these files. Right here I just have read write for root and root, so to actually modify and create this file I'd have to do sudo and then put in the password to be able to actually modify it. So coming back to this, I want to create a PHP, some PHP code that will allow me to upload any file. So I've created that code for you on my website. You can follow to this URL. And the code is just a simple PHP program that is insecure, absolutely, that allows you to submit, save, and then it tells you, hey, the file such and such has been uploaded. So you'd copy this information and create a file on your web server. And then you need to create a folder called uploads and then set up the permissions appropriately so that the www.data user can read, write, and execute on the uploads folder. And then verify the site works either by testing it on Kali or not. So when we come back, I will run through this process to create the PHP upload page, and then we will test it on Kali to make sure it works.